Gloving up.
That's right, we're ready. Doing a little tranny work today on a car. ML320, this is an older car, it's 2007. This car has over 200,000 miles. Where are we at here? About 209,000 miles. And customer's having some transmission issues. There is a Mercedes Tech Bulletin or tip. As you might have heard, if you've ever worked with Mercedes directly, they have tech bulletins, which are called tips. And you can put a VIN number into their Mercedes system, which we have access to, and it will pull up all the common problems associated with this particular VIN and give you guidance if you're experiencing certain fault codes. So we did that in this particular instance. Basically, the customer was driving and the car would shut down into a limp mode and not move. Wouldn't let them drive. They'd have to turn the car off, cycle the ignition, and then start again, and continue to do that, just driving in town. Long story short, the transmission in the conductor plate or valve body assembly here, the electronic hydraulic control unit, this is inside the transmission, but there are two different RPM sensors built into this control unit, and one of those sensors is failing. And when it fails, it generates certain fault codes, and one of the symptoms is basically shutting down into limp mode and not letting you drive. Unfortunately, you have to replace this entire control unit most of the time to repair it. I do have a shop that specializes in repair of these kinds of electronic control units, and they can take these apart, repair the RPM sensors at times, and then send them back, but it's still very expensive. And unfortunately, on a car with this many miles, it's just simply not worth taking the risk of installing a used part that already has 200,000 miles on it with just one of the sensors repaired. It makes far more sense if you want to keep the car, which this customer does, to just replace the entire conductor plate assembly, service the transmission, clear the codes, and get them on the road. So this customer always buys brand new cars and then drives them forever, as long as possible. So they bought this brand new in 2007. This is like their third or fourth Mercedes. They drive a gazillion miles between here and Texas, so 210,000 miles is really pretty low for this particular customer, and he just wants to keep this car on the road as long as possible before having to buy a brand new one. So that's what we're gonna do. Right now, we're plugged into it with Xentry. We're pulling the coding off of the existing control unit, so we have to retain that coding. You can't just pull this unit out and put a new one in. You'll never drive anywhere if you do that. We pull the coding, save it, replace the part, reinstall everything in the car, and then put the coding onto this control unit. It is VIN specific. This is theft relevant parts, so TRP. This is just like changing your ignition or your key or any other theft relevant part. We have to do a bunch of paperwork with Mercedes to prove that you own the car and that you authorize us to change these parts out. This may be something that, you know, some of the DIY folks are thinking, oh, I can just do this at home. It's not that hard to pull the conductor plate and all that. Yeah, physically it's not that hard, but the coding will hang you up. And to order the parts from Mercedes, there's a lot of hoops you've got to jump through to do that. So just be mindful if you're working on anything that's TRP, trying to change a key or a door lock or something like this, you got to make sure that you go through all the proper steps with Mercedes so that you're not stuck with a boat anchor afterwards. So right now, we've got the pan dropped, we're draining all the fluid, we're pulling the coating off. I'm going to go ahead and lift the car back up in the air. We'll drop the conductor plate, we'll swap this out, and then put everything back together, bring the car back down, put the coating on the new part, and then we'll go for a test drive. Yeah, so this is an older car. It uses DOS, which is an older version of Xentry. It's a little more rudimentary when it comes to the software, but basically it's all the same functions as the newer cars. It's just a little different way to access it. A little harder to navigate around the system, but still works very well. We're just getting into that transmission control unit right now. And like I mentioned before, pulling the existing coding tied to this VIN off of that module before we remove it from the car. If you remove the part first, you are gonna do a ton of work twice because you're gonna have to put it back in and get that coding again. We got the coding off the old one, the adaptations, all that good stuff. Now we're gonna just pull this down and swap them out. When you pull these bolts out, throw them away. One-time use only, people. There we go. All right, nice. Out with the old part. We'll put the new one back in, bolt it into place. We'll install a filter, torque converter drain plug, the pan, gasket, all that. Fill it, and then we'll go through the adaptations on the new module. Once they're in the car, we'll go test drive it, and be good to go. So now we have the transmission module back programmed for the car. I've installed that, the control plate module, that entire assembly in the transmission. We're just torquing up the pan bolts now. I'll fill the transmission, and then we can go ahead and start the car and then do our adaptations run, which requires Xentry. We go out, we drive the car. You know, it takes a little bit of time to go out and do that drive, but it's relatively straightforward. Just, it's very specific how you drive it to get this transition taught in so that it shifts smoothly. So that's what we're doing now. I'm just gonna get this pan torqued up the rest of the way, and then we can put some fluid in and go drive this thing. Filling the transmission is a pretty straightforward process if you have the right tools. It requires a pressurized container so you can push the fluid up into the transmission. The 7G and the 9G transmissions from Mercedes require filling from the bottom. There's no dipstick tube, there's no way to fill it from the top. So you fill it from the bottom using a pressure pot. I'm not actually going to film while I'm doing this. I'm just gonna go ahead and get this stuff set up, fill it, and then once it's full, we will go ahead and do the adaptation. So I'm gonna get some rubber gloves on here and get this thing full and make a mess, not on film if I'm gonna make a mess, and then we'll jump in and do the adaptation. So here we go. I've got it installed, filled it, of course put a new filter in, new gasket. So at this stage, we need to hook up the computer, perform an adaptation run where we go drive the car. This is a two-person job. One person just runs the computer and tells you what to do with the throttle to maintain your RPMs in the correct range. The other person drives. It's absolutely a two-person job. So we're gonna go knock that out right now. I'm gonna get the computer hooked up, get it rocking and rolling, do this adaptation drive. We'll bring it back in here. I'll do one final check and make sure everything looks good. And then this car is good to go and the customer's back in business. All right, that wraps up the repairs on this ML. If you have an ML or another Mercedes sedan or SUV with similar transmission issues where you're stuck in a limp mode, or you have codes on the ECM related to the RPM sensors on the transmission, this could be your problem. There are other things that can go wrong, of course, with these transmissions, but this one is relatively common. So if you're experiencing that, make sure you get into a Mercedes specialist that can get this diagnosed properly. Appreciate you all watching. If you have an idea for another video, be sure to drop a comment below and we'll add that to the queue. Appreciate it. See you on the next one.